What's up, firefighters? In today's video I'm going to be talking to you about science and technology. Now, we all know that when you go to school and you learn GP in school, they're going to teach you about science and technology as a whole. But what you don't really think about is that science and technology are actually two different things altogether. So when we talk about science and technology, I want you to be able to differentiate between, to draw the distinction between science and technology. Now, what is the difference? Very simply, science is the knowledge that you acquire and you use this knowledge to create technology. Is it simple enough? For example, the idea of gravity. Now that's science. Understanding gravity, that's science. Being able to use this knowledge of gravity to aid us in our quest for flight, that's technology, right? Aircraft technology, the flight technology. This is all technology, and all of this technology is developed from science. So let's talk about science. There are many different, what kinds of science are there? There are many different kinds of science. There's computer science, neuroscience, all sorts of science, right? When we talk about neuroscience, it can be the science of the brain, how the brain works. When we understand how the brain works, we are better able to understand ourselves as human beings, right? We are able to see how the different parts of our brain interacts with each other. The neocortex, for example, the part which handles logic, reasoning, as opposed to the amygdala, which is the smaller crop brain that is at the base of your skull, right? That part handles the fight or flight thinking process, so-called reaction processes of the brain. So, for example, in a recent study by Harvard University, they found that students and most people in general have like 70 to 80 to 90% of their neocortex shut down whenever they feel threatened, whenever they feel fear, whenever their amygdala triggers this fight or flight response, right? So how does that help us as human beings? In ancient times, before things became urbanized and we were all safe, we were living in jungles and you know, forested areas, and when a threat emerged like a huge tiger, there was no time to be standing around thinking, hey, you think that tiger over there is going to eat me, or am I going to eat the tiger? There's no time for logical reasoning. Your brain senses a threat, the amygdala kicks in, and you immediately decide whether or not you want to fight or you want to run away, right? So this understanding of neuroscience, when we apply it in the world today, we are able to better understand how we can accommodate high pressure situations, how we can do jobs that require logical thinking under high pressure. How, for example, even for you in your exams, how you can devise ways and means to bypass that amygdala, to bypass that fear in your brain, your heart, prevent it from shutting your brain down. So knowledge of how your brain works, this neuroscience, is how you can use science to help yourself in real life, right? Now let's talk about computer science on the other hand. Computer science, the science of understanding how computers work, right? A lot of computer scientists up in Yale, in Harvard, and the Ivy League schools, they study how computers work, and from that knowledge they derive the technology that we require today to make cloud computing, social media, Facebook, Instagram. These are all derived from knowledge of how computers work, how the internet works. So are you starting to see the differences between science and technology? Science is the knowledge that you use to create technology, right? And the thing about science is that it doesn't move as fast as technology. You don't have new scientific discoveries coming out, like huge major ones, like, oh, we rediscovered gravity, or we rediscovered the atom. It always happens at a slower pace to how applications for science, which is technology, how different types of technologies are invented. You know, take for example the iPhone. Every single year there is a new iPhone, new types of mobile communication technologies, right? So these are the differences, and you want to be aware of them, because if the question is asking you how science can affect humanity, then you don't exactly want to be focusing too much on technology. And as usual, if the question is about whether or not science is good or bad for humanity, whether or not whether science is a threat to humanity, oh, classic 10-year series question there, right there. Is science a threat to humanity? You can talk about how, you know, nuclear science has created the atomic bomb and that has been a threat to humanity. You can talk about genetically modified foods. You can talk about all sorts of things that science has created. But you can also talk about how, on the other hand, you can also talk about how science has brought out the best in humanity, has made our lives better. Science has been used, biomedical science has been used to cure diseases, to alleviate suffering, you know, to help people in pain, right? But I need you to think about this, and this is the same issue as money and technology and whatever. Is science really the one that's causing human beings to do good things or bad things? Or is science merely a tool, a means to an end? Is it science holding a gun to your head and saying you should use that atomic bomb to annihilate millions of lives? Or is it really human beings that are the ones pulling the trigger at the end of the day? So this is something you want to consider. So now that we have wrapped up science, let's talk about technology. What are the different types of technology out there available? You know, you have cloud computing technology, you have green technology, you have food technology, right? All sorts of technology, production, manufacturing, right? All these kinds of technology can be put to use and applied to use in our daily lives. So technology is a very wide-ranging spectrum. You can talk about how Tesla Motors has created electric cars that are not as pollutive as, you know, traditional means of transport. You can talk about how modern technology such as Facebook, social media has helped to reinvent the political landscape. Just like how we did here in Singapore for GE 2011, there was a lot of use of social media. The government's main hold on the mass media was loosened and was challenged a lot this time by social media. This led to a change in the political landscape, and now every single minister and his grandmother is on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and whatnot, right? To be able to engage with the masses, to be able to listen, right? So technology in itself also plays a part in changing our lives and the environment around us. So this is a general overview of the topic science and technology. If you want to look further into it, if you have any questions, you can ask me, email me, try and get a hold of me. There are many ways you can find me, and let me know what you think and if you have any questions. Thank you.